Hey there, my name's Sophia. I'm 29 years old and I recently gave birth to a child. However, that birth didn't happen without my mother-in-law nearly killing me. I know I sound crazy, but let me explain. Let me start by telling you a little more about my husband, Adrian. We met in college and started dating almost immediately. It was love at first sight, and I knew he was my forever. We had an amazing connection. Nobody understood me the way he did. After we graduated, we moved in together. While I had no complaints about Adrian, I did have several issues with his mother, Becky. Adrian and his family moved to my state from Missouri when he was 12, and they all have endearing Southern accents and different behaviors. I initially excused Becky's horrible treatment of me by attributing it to cultural differences. Becky hated me from the start, mainly because I had taken her precious son away, and also because the rest of Adrian's family adored me. I hadn't done anything special. I just listened to them and remembered what they said for our next meeting. They felt I genuinely cared about them, which I did, boosting my reputation. Becky couldn't stand it and constantly made snide remarks at my expense, belittling all my achievements. When people started defending me, she began doing it in a way only I heard. Adrian quickly stopped this by always being by my side. After about 7 years of dating, Adrian and I decided to tie the knot. We had a small, intimate ceremony, and it was the happiest day of my life. Becky did try to cause trouble, but we quickly shut her down by telling her to behave or be thrown out. After we married, my bond with Adrian's family only grew stronger. Whenever his relatives visited, they stayed with us instead of in hotels, which infuriated Becky. She tried to sabotage me, but no one cared or they stood by my side. It got to the point where Adrian's relatives refused to interact with Becky without us being present. It turned out Becky was horrible to not only me but to her family as well, which was why they preferred spending time with us. 3 years into our marriage, I started experiencing strange abdominal pains. At first, I brushed them off, but they happened randomly, and something told me to get them checked out. It turned out I was 4 months pregnant, which was a huge shock because I didn't look pregnant at all. The weight I gained, I had attributed to the holidays. I was excited to tell Adrian, so I made a fancy dinner and brought out a good bottle of wine. "Welcome home, sweetie," I greeted him. "Whoa, what's going on here? What's with the fancy dinner?" he asked. "Why don't you sit down first? I have some news to share with you." "Okay, should I be worried?" "Absolutely not. In fact, I think you're going to be really happy." "All right, I'm excited." "Spill." "So, you know how I've been having weird pains in my stomach?" "Uh-huh." "Well, I went to the doctor today, and she ran a few tests. It turns out my stomach is completely normal." "Oh, what was it then?" "Turns out, I'm pregnant." "What? Oh my gosh, are you serious?" "The best part is that I'm 4 months along." "What? How is that even possible?" "It's called a hidden pregnancy, and I haven't had any other symptoms. I had relatively short periods, but I didn't think that was abnormal. The pains I was feeling were just kicks." "Oh my God, this is big news. I'm so happy." "Me too, and this couldn't be happening at a better time. We're finally doing well financially, and I was going to ask you if we could start trying. Anyway, we're going to have to tell everyone about this. I'm worried about how your mother will react." "What do you mean?" "You know how much she hates me. She hates that everyone loves me. I'm worried that with the pregnancy announcement, I'll get even more attention and she'll hate me even more. If you're okay with it, I'll have a strong word with her about her behavior. You don't have to worry about a thing. The only thing you have to do is enjoy being treated like a princess." "I would like that talk and the princess treatment. I say we wait until we find out the baby's gender before we have a celebration, though." "I love that idea. Now let's have a little celebration of our own." Adrian and I were over the moon about my pregnancy. We hadn't made any concrete plans, but we had set aside some savings for when we eventually wanted to have kids. We waited another month before telling our families the good news. My family was overjoyed, and so was Adrian's, well, except Becky. Surprisingly, she barely reacted except for scowling at us. We decided to have a gender reveal party at our house. Planning a backyard barbecue and inviting both our families, we chose the traditional cake-cutting method and discovered we were having a boy. I was so happy and eager to start decorating the nursery. At the party, I was treated like a queen, with everyone giving me attention and asking questions. I felt on top of the world. At some point, though, I noticed Becky wasn't around. After asking around, I found out she was inside the house. I went in to find her at the top of the stairs. Becky, what are you doing here? The party's downstairs. Oh, I'm just trying to find proof. Proof of what? Of your lies. Excuse me? What lies? Come on now. Nobody believes you're really pregnant. You're too tiny to be 7 months along. Every woman experiences pregnancy differently. Just because I'm not as big as you expect doesn't mean I'm not pregnant. Don't lie. You just want everyone's attention. Why would I fake a whole pregnancy just to get attention? And why would I want attention in the first place? I know you're kind. You're jealous that my son pays me attention when I come over, and you want to take that away. Becky, I think you're projecting your feelings onto me, and I don't appreciate it. I have no need for attention because I naturally get it. You're trying to steal from me, and I do not appreciate that. Look, you're stressing me out, and that's not good for the baby. I'm just going to go. Stop trying to steal the spotlight. No one gives a darn about you. What are you? The last thing I remember was her pushing me down the stairs. I felt excruciating pain before passing out. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed with a tube running into my hand and pain in my abdomen. I had no idea what had happened. But thankfully, Adrian was sitting right beside me, asleep in his chair. I coughed a little, waking him up immediately. He looked shocked and relieved to see me awake. Sophia, you're awake. Thank God. What? What happened? You fell down some stairs. Are you sure? Yeah, I have some really bad news, and I need you to be as calm as you can. Oh no, how's my baby? Don't tell me something happened to my precious child. Sophia, sweetie, calm down, please. You lost a lot of blood, and we're struggling to find a suitable donor. But what about my baby? I need to know if my baby is okay. Because of how much blood you were losing, they had to induce labor. You gave birth, but how's the baby? I need to see him. He's in the NICU. He's in good hands. You have nothing to worry about. There's nothing more you can do. Don't blame yourself for anything. Once we get a donor for you, we can focus on our child, okay? Yeah, but I'm not blaming myself. Good. I have someone else to blame. What do you mean? I'll let you know, but could you please bring your mother down here? Why? Just please don't ask questions. I'm going through enough. Bring her here and tell her everything that happened in front of me. I'll explain everything else after. Okay, but first let's get you your blood, and then we'll do everything else you wanted. Yeah, okay. Adrian went to talk to my doctor, and thankfully they found a donor who was willing to donate immediately. The stress of everything made me fall right back asleep after the blood transfusion. I had so many emotions swirling through me, and I didn't know what to make of them. On one hand, I was grateful that my son was still alive, but I also knew he might grow up with some developmental issues. I didn't have a problem with that, but knowing Becky was the reason my son struggled made me feel hot with anger. I was asleep for a good 3 hours, and when I woke up, I felt much better. Once again, Adrian was next to me and immediately rushed to my side when I woke up. Hi, sweetie. You fell asleep for a little while. How do you feel right now? A lot better. How's our son? They've managed to stabilize him. He'll have to be in the NICU for the next 2 months. Will I be able to hold him? Not yet, but soon, I promise. Until then, we will definitely get to see him. I saw him, and he looks adorable. All right, I'm glad that everything's okay. But you wanted to see my mom, right? Oh yeah. Is she here? She's waiting outside. Shall I bring her in? Yeah. Adrian brought his mother into the room. Hi, Sophia. How are you? Becky asked, her tone dripping with insincerity. Not doing so good. Adrian, did you update her on what happened? No, he didn't tell me anything. He just asked me to rush here, Becky replied. Adrian, could you tell her what happened since I got here? Well, Mom, after you came running to us about Sophia slipping down the stairs, she ended up bleeding a lot. She had to be induced so she could give birth to the baby. Thankfully, the doctors and nurses managed to stabilize our son. He's just going to be in the NICU for a while now. Oh, you gave birth, Pearl. Congratulations, Becky said, feigning delight. Don't even. Do you have something to say to me and Adrian? What are you talking about? Sweetie, you said Becky came running to you after I slipped, right? Yes, and I'm so grateful that she saw it because none of us heard you fall. Great. Now, Becky, should I be the one to tell him, or will you do it yourself? What is she talking about, Mom? Adrian asked, his voice full of suspicion. Oh, I don't know. She just gave birth. She's probably just making things up. She's probably suffering from mommy brain. Lord knows I had a bad case of it after I gave birth to you. Do not even try to make this into something as arbitrary as that. Adrian, your mother pushed me down the stairs. What? You remember how I went to check on Becky after she had been gone inside the house for a really long time? Yeah. Turns out she was in the house for so long because she wanted to find proof of me faking my pregnancy. Why on earth would you be faking your pregnancy? Apparently, she thought I was stealing her spotlight. I didn't say that. Those were literally the last words you told me before you pushed me down the stairs. Mom, is this true? Fine, I will admit that I was a little jealous of her, but you have to believe me when I say that I didn't think she was actually pregnant. So you willingly endangered the life of my wife and my child because you didn't think something was true. Oh, come on, honey, she didn't even look that pregnant. How was I supposed to know? You can't just push people down the stairs. What if Sophia had hit her head hard enough to cause permanent damage? What would you have done then, huh? I don't know. I'm so sorry. You know what? I don't want you here. I will talk to you after I figure out what is going on in my mind. Becky tried to stay longer, but Adrian was having none of it. All I felt when I looked at her was blinding rage. How could she do something like that to me and my baby? How could she even try to justify her actions? Adrian had Becky escorted out of our room and barred her from visiting me or the baby. He wouldn't stop apologizing for his mother afterward, but I told him he had no reason to apologize. He did nothing wrong, and in fact, did the right thing by cutting her out for now. It took a few days, and then I was discharged. Over the next 2 months, I received a lot of calls from family checking in on me and making sure the baby and I were okay. Adrian and I also spent a lot of time going back and forth to the hospital just to see that our son was doing well. It was a very stressful time. But thankfully, our families were very supportive and helpful in every way. Becky also tried to reach out to us, but we didn't care to respond. We wanted nothing to do with her, and we made that clear. She did not take it lightly, so we had to block her. Finally, after 2 months in the ICU, we were able to take our son home. I cried really hard when I finally got to hold my son, and so did Adrian. Just the thought that we almost lost him made me want to throw up. Word got around that we had brought our son home, and somehow, Becky found out too. She got herself another phone number just to be able to communicate with us. When she saw that we weren't answering those texts either, she decided the best thing to do was to come to our house unannounced. Thankfully, Adrian opened the door. If I had opened it, Lord knows I would have chewed her out and possibly even hurt her for the stress she put my family under. Becky looked haggard and older than when we last saw her. She had tears in her eyes as she begged Adrian to talk to her. Please talk to me. Mom, you need to stop trying to contact us. How can I not? My son won't talk to me, and I don't get to see my grandson. You think you get to see our son? You don't think we're in pain from not being able to hold our little boy? I really am sorry. Please at least talk to me. I thought I was doing something right. How is pushing my wife down a flight of stairs the right thing to do? She's always been trying to steal everyone's attention. I see the way she tries so hard, and it's just so darn hard to keep my anger in check. You have no idea how insane you sound right now. I do not. I was trying to do what was best for you. Best for me? How is this best for me? I always knew you could do so much better than Sophia. I was just trying to get you to see that. By almost killing my child and wife? Are you kidding me right now? What you did was not for me, but because you couldn't handle the fact that there was someone better than you in your family. Sophia is not better than me. Oh, she is in every way. She cooks better food and has a much better temperament than you. Why do you think more of our family has started coming over to our place for Thanksgiving when we host? Nobody can stand you and your entitlement. You take that back right this second. That is no way to speak to your mother. Now I will speak to you the way you deserve to be spoken to. You made our lives a nightmare from the start, and I have been silent about it only because Sophia begged me not to damage my relationship with you. Okay, I get it. I'm a horrible mother. You are. You absolutely are. You're lucky that we're not going to the police about you hurting Sophia and our son. Oh, please, like you have evidence of it. It'll be my word against hers. Who said we didn't have evidence? Don't try and bluff me right now. Look, Sophia and I are exhausted, and we want this time to be as calm as possible. So for the foreseeable future, I do not want to hear from or see you again. Do you get it? You can't do that. I want to see my grandson too. Oh, you are never seeing your grandson. What? You have no idea how much our son is going to suffer thanks to your jealousy. The least I could do is make sure that he never meets the source of his problem. I will fight for my grandparents' rights. Go for it. Bye. Adrian was mad that Becky still had the audacity to show up. If I were in her place, I would never have shown my face to my family. But hey, everyone's different, I guess. Becky did not give up on trying to contact us. Not only would she call and text us a whole bunch of times, but she would also show up at our doorstep and make a huge ruckus until we opened the door. So Adrian and I did the only sensible thing and got a restraining order against Becky. She once again did not like that, but I was so tired by this point that I really did not care. Thankfully, Adrian and I dealt with Becky just in time for us to take our son home. Let me tell you, holding him for the first time made me sob and feel so grateful that he was still alive. Adrian and I decided to use the next few months to just bond with our child. So we didn't let anyone come over to see the baby. Thankfully, after everything that happened, everyone was happy to comply. Becky, however, did not stop trying to bother us. One day, we actually received a summons to come to court because Becky was trying to fight for her grandparents' rights. That threw me into a blind rage. I couldn't believe that she was actually trying to claim grandparent rights when she almost killed me and the grandson she so desperately wanted to see. I asked Adrian to grab the evidence and we made our way to a lawyer's firm. We hired a good lawyer, showed him the evidence, and he told us that we could charge Becky even though we didn't want to do it earlier. After dealing with her harassment for months, we decided to press charges against her. The trial that followed was truly something out of a movie. Becky cried and sobbed at first, claiming we were neglecting her and not letting her visit her only grandson. I could tell that the jury was a little sympathetic towards her, but I knew I had the most incriminating piece of evidence for her. When the footage of her pushing me down the stairs played, everyone in the room went silent and Becky grew pale. After the first hearing, Becky blasted us with calls and texts, accusing us of hiding the truth from her. We figured it was in the best interest to block her. After a couple of weeks, Becky was charged with attempted murder of an unborn child and was sentenced to 6 months in jail. All her appeals were denied, and Adrian and I couldn't have been happier. Of course, word got around in Adrian's family as well about what Becky had done, and let's just say that nobody wants anything to do with her anymore. She's going to have a tough time when she's done with her sentence. As for Adrian and me, we're gradually getting used to being first-time parents and loving every second of it. I'm just glad we get to do it stress-free. We are considering moving, but that's a decision to make for a later time. Thank you so much for listening.